Welcome back everyone to Blender and Unreal Engine, becoming a dungeon prop artist, and this is where we left it off. Alright, so now we've got this little piece in here. Let's make a top for it as well. So all I'm going to do is I'm actually going to duplicate this, so Shift D, bring it up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in, so S and Y, bring it in, and then finally S and Z, and then bring it in a little bit more, so S and X, like so, and now finally just grab the top of it in face select, and then press S and Y, like so, and there we go. So we made real short work of the actual bench. Now we might as well do the rest of it, so I might as well join all this together, because on this one we haven't actually got any, metal bits or anything like that, so we might as well just join it all together like so, Control J, and then we'll move on now to the next one. So the next one will be the actual stool. So what we're going to do with this one though is we're actually going to bring in a cylinder instead. So Shift A, let's bring in a cylinder. Now the important thing when you're bringing in cylinders is I'm going to show you two different methods, or I'm going to show you a method so you understand why it is that we're doing it. So you can see at the moment the vertices going around here, the edges, are 32 at the moment. So let's put that one over there. And then we'll bring in another one now. So Shift A, bring in another cylinder. And this time we'll put it on to 8. Pull that one over there. And then finally we'll bring in another one. So Shift A, bring in another cylinder. And this time we'll put it on something like 16. So half the one of this one. Let's pull them over there. Now let's join all these together. Like so. Press Ctrl A or transforms, right click Origins Geometry. And now I'm going to show you why it's important that you bring in cylinders with just the right amount of faces on so that you can get the look you're going for without going too much over on the polygon count. So the first thing I want to show you is if I press Tab, we can see we've got 212 triangles or polygons in this. But if I come in and add some edge loops to this one, so if I press Ctrl R, left click, right click, we now have 532. So you can see how that exponentially goes up once we start adding in edge loops and things like that, or duplicating these cylinders based on how many faces we have going around it. So let's press Ctrl Z, and now I'm going to show you the reason why. If I right click and shade smooth, come in now and bring in my auto smooth, you can see that both of these look exactly the same apart from this one. You can also see that on the top of here, we have some lumps and things like that still in it. And on this one, it's actually clean and looks really nice. Now, this one here, though, which was 8 edges, you can see it hasn't been shaded smooth. We have to turn this up really, really high to get it to actually shade smooth. So the 8 polygons is not really what you can use. The minimum you should be using is 12-sided cylinders if you want to get that round shape. Just bear in mind that you will end up with some lumpiness on top of it like this. So that's a really, really good thing to actually know when you're working with cylinders. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Tab. I'm going to go in, delete both of these. So delete vertices to make sure we've got no empties left. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this cylinder, Control A or transforms, right click, Origins Geometry. And now we're going to use this one because this one is based around 16 sides or edges. And now we can see as well that we get the right smoothness because this is going to be for my stool. All right, so for the stool, I'm going to bring it over to our little guy. I'm going to make it smaller like so. And then I'm going to press S and Z and just make it kind of the right size. Again, with the stool, you can get away with it being a little bit higher because they are normally a little bit higher if you're making a bar stool. So if it's a bar stool, you would have the legs coming out here and you would have a little step up and then you can get away with it being a little bit higher. Being as though this is a medieval type dungeon thing, we need to keep the stool quite low down. In fact, it would probably be lower down than the actual bench. That's just the way they would be. All right, so we can see now this is about the right size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move in there over here like so. And now let's concentrate on creating the top and the bottom. So simply for creating the top and bottom, I'm basically going to bevel it off. So bevel this top off. So I'm going to come, Alt Shift and click. I'm going to press Control B like so. Now you can see we do have a problem. And the problem is it's not beveling off correctly. Now that can either be because of my width. It could be because of the shape of what I'm doing. Or it could be simply down to the fact that I've not reset the transformation. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z I'm going to do it again now. So Control A, all transforms, right click to Origins Geometry. Now I'm going to press Control B, and now you can see it's beveling off much, much nicer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it like that. I'm going to put this up to 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the actual shape of this. So if I come in and change the shape, something like that, and now you can see that's looking pretty nice. I'm also then going to go up to File. I'm going to go to Save. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and go to File again. And I'm going to just open Recent and open my dungeon props. And now what I'm going to do is just show you that now when I come in and grab the bottom, Control B to bevel, everything has been reset as what it was when you first open up Blend. You can see the shape now is 0.5. It's on one segment. So that is why we're actually doing that. I don't actually want to bevel this off. I want to do this myself. So you can see now we've got a really nice shape. Now to help us out with the smoothing process, we should, on something like this, be using sharp. So let's go in and grab just this edge around here, going around here, this edge here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to right click, come down and mark a sharp. And now you'll see that you've got a nice sharp edge going around there because this is made of wood. It's not made of paper or anything like that. All right, so you can see now that store's coming along pretty nicely. Now what I want to do is I just want to come to the underneath because you might have some that are actually, tipped over or something. So we do want it to have an underneath. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press I to bring it in, the insert. Then I'm going to press E just to bring it up like so, just to give it a kind of nice bottom on it as well. Now we need some actual legs. So let's bring in the legs. So the first thing I'll do is I'll press Shift S, cursor to selected, just to put my, cursor right in the center of it. I'm going to press Shift A and bring in a cube. I'm going to make my cube smaller. I'm going to press 1 to get it right in where I want it. So just in here. I'm going to press Control 7 then to go over the top. I'm going to this time go into wireframe. So I'm going to press Z, go into wireframe like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to position it around here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller like so. I'm going to position it right next to this edge here. Then I'm going to press Z, go back into solid. And now you can see that's in the perfect place, apart from it needs moving up a little bit. So move it up just a little tad like so. Now let's bring it out. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down like so, down to the ground plane. So I'm going to press 1, bring it all the way down to the ground plane. And now what I want to do is I want to actually bend it out. So if I pull this out now, like so, and we can see that it is a stool. So it does want to be kind of bent a little bit. Not quite like this. In other words, what I mean, if I press Control R, press 3, left click, right click, bringing in 3 edge loops, grab this middle one with Alt, Shift and click, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use proportional editing, but this time we're not going to have it on random. We're actually going to have it on just smooth. And now you'll see if I press 3, I can come in and just pull that out, bring in this a little bit, and we get that nice edge that we're actually looking for. So that nice smooth curve. Take it off, and then just move it back just a little bit back into place because we pulled it out a little bit. And there we go. That's looking really, really nice. All right. So the next thing, we want to actually bevel this off as well. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do this manually as well. So Control, Shift, click all the way up there. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control B and just bevel them off just a little bit like so. And you can see now that's looking much, much better. All right. So now I need to move this around into each of these positions, which is 120 degrees, because if you split 360 degrees, which is a circle, into 3, you'll end up with 120 degrees. So how do we do that? At the moment, if I press Shift D, you'll see I can't really position it where I want to. But if I press Shift D and drop it back, I want to move it from here. So there's a really, really easy way of doing that. You press the little sideways V, which is next to the question mark button on your keyboard, and then you'll end up with one that says 3D cursor. And now you'll see that this moves to here. Now, if I press R and Z, you can see now that we can move around this based on the position of the cursor, which is really, really handy. Now, if I put this over here, let's say, come down to the bottom left-hand side, you can see at the moment it's on 240. So if I put this on 120, we'll see that it goes right in the perfect place that we actually need it. Then if we press Shift D again, or Z, and just type in 120, press the Enter button, and there you go. Now you've got a stool where all the parts are in the perfect place, and it was as simple as that. just press the little sideways V again, put it on individual origins, and now it's back to where it needs to be. All right, so this stool is pretty much done. So I'm going to join it all together like so. Press Ctrl J, and there we go. One stool all done. You can see how quick that actually was. All right, so on the next lesson, what we'll do then, we'll finish the chair off hopefully, and then we can actually get the materials on, get them into our asset manager, and then that's the first actual props done and out of the way. All right, everyone, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.